Coming up.
Well, I'll tell you, this is the behind the scenes a little bit. Everyone in the league got a memo saying, don't talk publicly if you're a team official about this. Let's leave this for 48 hours. Don't have any comments. Try to dismiss. That was from the league, a memo from them. So already you feel like, okay, well, then that means tensions are heightened. And then you got some talking points that everyone got. The same people that always get all those same information, they all got the same information about what the league has opened up as far as conversations go. And then Scott Green, who's the officials union leader, he came out and was like, that's BS. Here is this, and this. So it's very public right now. Everyone's kind of chirping back and forth. The league learned its lesson in 2012 when they went through the replacement ref situation. A lot of those people were unprepared, so I would not be shocked if you see some D1, D2, D3 officials getting a little bit of extra work maybe during training camp or potentially during OTAs at these teams just to see if we can get those balls in motion if this thing doesn't come to be.
The NFL might be walking straight into a disaster, and the league itself just gave it away. A memo. The NFL sent out an internal memo telling every team official to keep their mouth shut about the referee contract situation. No public comments. Dismiss any questions. Give it 48 hours. When a league that generates billions of dollars every single year has to tell its own people to go silent, that tells you everything. This is not under control. This thing is spiraling. And here's the part that should terrify every NFL fan. Replacement refs could be suiting up for the 2025 season. Not as a last resort. As a very real, actively planned contingency. We're talking about officials who were working Friday night high school games getting dropped into the middle of a billion-dollar professional football product. But before we get into exactly how bad this could get, we need to talk about what the union just did in response to that memo. Because Scott Green, the head of the Officials Association, did not stay quiet. He went public. And what he said blew the whole situation wide open. Plus, there's a proposal sitting on the competition committee's table right now that could permanently change how NFL games are officiated. And not everyone is happy about it. Stay with me. Here's the full picture. The NFL and its officials have been locked in contract negotiations, and by every account from people close to the situation, both sides have hit a wall. This isn't a minor disagreement over benefits. This feels like two sides that are ready to go to war. And in a labor dispute at this level, when both sides dig in, there is always collateral damage. That collateral damage? It lands on the field. In your team's season. In playoff races that get decided by calls that never should have happened. And it gets worse. The league's response to the growing tension wasn't to negotiate harder or find common ground. It was damage control. That memo, the one telling team officials to go radio silent, that was the NFL trying to keep a lid on something that was already boiling over. And the moment Scott Green stepped in front of a microphone and started pushing back publicly, that lid blew off completely. Now you've got both sides airing it out in the open, the league looks reactive, and the clock is ticking. Now here's where it gets really interesting.
One or D2 refs, though.
No?
It would not be.
This would be the
D3 in high school. Because none of the D1 refs think they'll still make the NFL, so they're not going to piss off the refs. So,
interesting.
yeah, you got to remember that.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they're not going to. Anybody that thinks they're going to be able to make it to the NFL as a ref will not do it because they don't want to scab.
They're crossing the picket line like the 87 NFL draft.
That's real, Sure. Yeah, that's a real thing.
Think about that.
Yeah, that's why. Do you know?
I haven't thought of that.
Do you know how I know?
St. Falco.
Because I was in,
Yep.
I was in the league whenever the last ones happened.
2011.
And these assholes had no idea what they were doing, like clearly. And
behind the scenes, the NFL is not sitting still waiting for a deal to get done. They are actively preparing for the possibility that it doesn't. And what that preparation looks like should make every fan genuinely uncomfortable. We are talking about D3 college officials, high school referees, people who, by their own admission, never expected to be anywhere near an NFL field. And the reason you won't see D1 officials stepping in? Simple. Those guys still have dreams of making it to the league someday. They are not going to cross a picket line and have that follow them for the rest of their careers. The officials who are available to cross that line are the ones who have absolutely nothing to lose. The NFL saw this exact movie play out in 2012. Replacement refs turned into a national punchline. Calls were so bad, so obviously wrong, that it became impossible to take the product seriously. The league learned from that, which is exactly why there are quiet conversations happening right now about getting some of these lower-level officials extra work during training camp and OTAs. They want to test whether these guys can even handle the speed of the game before they get thrown into a live situation. That's how serious this is. The contingency plan has a contingency plan. Now let's pull back and talk about the real issue underneath all of this, because the contract dispute is just the surface. What this negotiation is really about is accountability. The NFL wants the ability to actually fire referees who consistently underperform. And right now, the officiating structure doesn't really allow for that in any meaningful way. These guys have job security that most professionals can only dream about. You can have a string of terrible performances, blow calls in critical games, alter the trajectory of a season, and still be back out there the following week. Think about what the stakes actually are here. Bad officiating doesn't just frustrate fans. It ends careers. Coaches have been fired because a blown call flipped a game in the wrong direction. Players have had their legacies permanently defined by moments that were taken from them by a flag that never should have been thrown, or one that should have been. Entire franchise windows have been slammed shut by officiating failures in playoff games that can never be replayed. This is not a minor issue. This is a foundational crack in the game itself. And the wild part? The technology to address a big chunk of this already exists and is being used in other sports right now. Baseball just rolled out an automated ball strike system, and it has completely changed the accountability dynamic between umpires and players. For the first time in the sport's history, a bad call can be publicly challenged, verified on the Jumbotron in real time, and shown to 40,000 people in the stadium simultaneously. There is nowhere to hide. And instead of damaging the integrity of the game, fans love it. The product is better because accountability is built into the system. The NFL has access to similar technology. There is already a proposal in front of the competition committee to bring in an eye-in-the-sky official. Someone in the booth with the authority to step in and correct obvious errors while the play is still fresh. That is a meaningful step forward. But not everyone is on board, and that's where the debate gets genuinely complicated. Even some players who have been directly hurt by bad officiating aren't sure they want a fully automated system. And here's why. When you slow any play down to a frame-by-frame review, especially anything involving contact in the secondary, almost every play starts to look like a penalty. The human element in officiating exists because football is a human game played at a speed that technology sometimes distorts rather than clarifies. Remove that human judgment entirely and you might solve one problem while creating 5 new ones. What the game actually needs is a hybrid approach. Keep experienced, accountable human officials on the field. Give them real-time technological support. Give the booth the ability to step in on plays that are obviously, egregiously wrong. And above all, make officiating a full-time job with full-time consequences. No more refs spending their off-seasons in car dealerships or selling insurance. If you are calling plays that determine playoff seeding, that needs to be your entire professional focus. There's another piece to this that doesn't get talked about enough: transparency. When a massive call goes wrong on a Thursday night game with millions of people watching and real money and real playoff implications on the line, the referee disappears. No explanation. No press conference. No accountability to the public that just watched the call happen. That silence breeds contempt, and it is completely unnecessary. The officials who earn the most respect, in any sport, are the ones who are confident enough to explain their decisions and accountable enough to acknowledge when they got it wrong. Transparency doesn't weaken the authority of an official. It builds trust with the audience. And right now, the NFL's officiating core has a serious trust problem. Here's where Gridiron Insight stands on all of this. And we're not pulling any punches. Both sides in this negotiation need to stop treating this like a war and start treating it like a shared responsibility to the game. The officials are essential. Nobody is arguing otherwise. But essential doesn't mean untouchable. The league has a legitimate point about accountability, and the officials have a legitimate point about resources and support. Neither side has the moral high ground here, and the longer they pretend they do, the more damage they're doing to the product they both claim to care about. One bad call in Week 3 can ripple all the way to a wild card game in January. That's not a hypothetical, that's NFL history. And if replacement refs are the ones making those calls, it's not just one game at risk. It's the credibility of an entire season. Get this done. Get it done now. Because the cost of getting it wrong is something nobody, not the fans, not the players, not the coaches, and honestly not even the officials themselves, wants to live through again. And here's something that almost nobody is bringing up in this conversation: the pipeline problem. The way NFL officiating works right now, it's treated like a closed system. You come up through the college ranks, you get noticed, you get promoted, and once you're in, you're essentially in forever. There is no aggressive development program. There is no structured evaluation process that carries real consequences. There is no culture of continuous improvement baked into the officiating infrastructure the way there is for players and coaches. Think about how ridiculous that is. Every single player on an NFL roster is evaluated on film every single week. Every coach is judged on wins, losses, adjustments, and game management. But the officials who directly shape the outcome of those same games? They operate inside a system where the feedback loop is almost non-existent. Where being mediocre for years doesn't put your job at risk. Where the only way you lose your position is if something so catastrophic happens that the league simply cannot look the other way anymore. That culture has to change. And the contract negotiation happening right now is the perfect moment to demand that it does. There's actually a genuinely exciting idea gaining traction, bringing former players into the officiating pipeline. It sounds unconventional, but think about it for a second. A guy who played 10 years in the NFL understands the speed of the game at a biological level. He understands what a legal hit looks like from the inside. He understands the difference between a receiver running a route and a receiver initiating contact. That contextual football intelligence is something you simply cannot teach a career official who has never played the game beyond the amateur level. There are already a few former players working as officials in the league, and by most accounts they've brought a different kind of credibility to the position. Players respect them. Coaches engage with them differently. There's a sense that those officials actually get it, not just the rulebook but the game itself. Expanding that pipeline aggressively should be a priority in whatever deal gets done here. Because at the end of the day, the goal isn't just to avoid a replacement ref disaster in 2025. The goal is to build an officiating system that the game can be genuinely proud of. One where the best officials in the world are calling the best football in the world, and everyone on that field knows it. That's the standard. That's what this negotiation should be reaching for. Not just a deal that stops the bleeding, but a deal that actually moves the game forward. Here's where this stands. The NFL and its officials are barreling toward a standoff that could compromise the integrity of the 2025 season before the first kickoff even happens. The league is quietly building contingency plans. The union is pushing back hard and publicly. And somewhere in the middle of all of it, the actual quality of the game is the thing that suffers. My prediction: this gets resolved, but not before both sides make it significantly uglier first. Expect a short-term deal with some form of accountability measures and limited technological officiating support included. Long-term, automated officiating assistance becomes a permanent part of the NFL game within 2 seasons. If you want to stay ahead of how this situation develops, hit that subscribe button right now so you don't miss a single update. And drop a comment below. Do you think the NFL should move toward automated officiating, or do we keep humans in full control no matter what? This is Gridiron Insights. We'll see you in the next one.